When we first went into this lockdown about a year ago, it was hard to get supplies. So many shops were closed, stores were closed. So I ended up hanging out in my studio a lot and using up all my material. So COVID, in fact, was inspiring to work for me. So I was very productive. COVID was this ubiquitous, it is still, but it was more so in the beginning where you couldn't not think about it. So it's going to translate into everything you do.
Should take in the whole area. And it's a fisheye lens too, so yeah.
It's a milestone for me of what I've done in the last 11 years or something like that. I went and spoke to the people at Howl, namely Ted Ryder, about 5 years ago. Now Howl is an organization that's, when it comes to the art, visual art, they conserve and showcase artists from the East Village / Lower Manhattan, from our generation, from the 80s and late 70s, 80s. It's been in my head for that long. Maybe 3.5 years ago, I started making these big shapes: a triangle, a square, and a circle. The first one I made was a circle with a 4-foot radius. Pretty soon after I started making them, I had the intention of wanting to show them. And once I made the circle, it was pretty clear that it had to be suspended. And with this Howl thing in mind, I kind of decided that would have been, like a core thing to do there, was to do these shapes. And collaboration, there's got to be some chemistry, or you got to admire something that this person does, or want to be part of that, or there's got to be a connection somehow. When me and Jilly, we started doing this stuff in the subway, she did the gas mask faces and stuff. I was like, oh, those are very cool. I want to try to create captions for them. The first 2 or 3 that we did were just wet paint signs. And it was because of Jilly that I said, okay, I gotta start tearing up all the service alert posters and getting all the rest of the letters, because I can't do a caption with a wet paint sign. I need an alphabet. So in other words, it was because of a collaboration that I expanded. That often happens, where you start working with somebody else and you make a turn that it opens up a whole new thing. And with Jilly, it was that. And it's not that she suggested it, it was that I had to do that to make it work. That's one of the many benefits of working with other people, because you grow, right? At this point, it's trying to show what I've been able to do with my constrained alphabet. There's no H, there's no K, there's no V, there's no Y, and there's no X. What I use as an O is the no re-entry symbol. And then the U is a turnaround symbol. I have 22 characters, but I use the number 2 and 4 a lot, because 2 and 4 are words. So I have these limitations. I did an autobiographical 6-panel narrative, and then I do the thing with the altars, and then I have some photographs and gel transfers from the same old period, and on tiles, which is very different from the rest of the stuff, just to break it up a little. And then the shapes. The shapes, the square, the triangle, and the circle represent body, mind, and soul. Throughout different cultures and histories, that's the general suggestion that each those shapes make. The square is body, the circle is soul, and the triangle is mind. Next to the shapes, if you look on the right-hand side, there's this text that's framed. It talks about the shapes. Once again, in my constrained writing. So it says, a triangle can and quite often does suggest male or female genitalia and copulation. So I just wanted to write something a little bit in your face, right? So that's the first one. Then the second one, which is my most ambitious, with once again constrained alphabet, says a circle is considered most perfect of all forms. It is omnipresent. It can illustrate notions of God, total self, a process of transformation, and timelessness. Which I said when I wrote that, I was like, hell yes, dude. A square represents material elements. It depicts firmness, fairness, routine and domesticity. I did this kind of ritual wall. I made hundreds of altars at this point. I started making them in '89, and these are particularly special because they're made specifically for this show. We all have some sort of ritual, and it's just a reliquary or a vessel that you could have this ritual in. So I see them as art objects. I mean, I grew up going to Catholic school and in the Catholic Church for 8 years of my life as a kid, and the Stations of the Cross and all that stuff that surrounds the church, all of the iconography is still in your head, so you can relate to it, you know? It's like whatever culture, Buddhists have a Gehunsen, dream catchers, or the Star of David, or the Star and Crescent. Where your faith beliefs are based is going to come through, even if you don't practice that. Altars are universal, you know? So many people have helped put this thing together. I've been lucky, you know, with galleries and stuff like that. One Art Space, Vanderplas, all these people have been instrumental in letting me have shows and getting some sort of a following, you know? And which we all know is hard work. It's like a full-time job, you know? I said I would like to thank 1 million people, but it's like too many people to thank.